Okay, so let's see. You might not be able to see me, which I think is kind of weird. That I could see myself on the screen, but you can't see me on the screen. Okay, so let's go into the next part of the list. As you can see, I added a few more cryptocurrencies that I'm watching as well. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go into the next list really quick and talk about what makes up my red, green, and orange list, right? Again, all I'm doing is just tapping the side right here, making it green. That puts it on the green list. I'm not doing anything special, anything particular, but that's it. So why red, green, and orange, right? So what I did was I followed the Bollinger Band, right? I have my reservations about this whole Bollinger Band thing, but people say one thing and they see another, but I have to follow the actual lines themselves, and I kind of feel again my own reservations for the Bollinger Band. Um, I have the EMAs, right, which are your exponential, right? Okay, so these are the four things that I'm looking at, right? It's got the Bollinger Band, got your MACD, um, the moving average exponential, and then we have your relative strength index. So if you don't know what they are, I'll try to make like a video, I guess, regarding them, or you can probably just Google them. But self-explanatory. The Bollinger Band, it kind of it shows like it goes around the stock, basically saying like, okay, the trend lines. If it goes up, it's going to pretty much stop here. If it goes down, it pretty much stops here. It's not 100%, as you can see. Not always going to be 100%. And then in the middle, I put the dotted line there, but it just made it easier for me to just see the trending line itself. But yeah, I just put that in the middle. And then we have our MACD. The MACD follows the same type of trend. So does the EMA. But the RSI kind of follows like more like a volume. So it talks about the volume. And one of the things, and I'll minimize this because I don't think you can see me anyway. One of the things that I noticed when I was looking at these was that down here below in Tradeview, it actually shows you the 52 low. I wish it would tell you when it was 52 low. Like if I clicked on it, if it like brought you there, it would be kind of cool. And it shows you like the 52 high. And in this screen, it shows you like what the high was and the low is right here. So that kind of works the same way. Coinbase, I think that's kind of the same thing when you slide it over back and forth. And that's when the dividends are given out. These when the earnings are actually displayed. As you can see, earnings, they kind of drop down after they showed their earnings. Most stocks typically either go up or go down, depending on their earnings and depending on what it did between earnings, right? So if it went up because of the earnings, you can see this one's probably going to go up after earnings are given, because earnings usually show more than their prediction. Or you're going to see ones where the earnings cause it to go down because earnings showed less than what theoretically was predicted, right? And then dividends, some stocks give out dividends, which is a monthly thing. So right before the dividends go out, sometimes you're going to see a stock go up. You usually don't see it go down right before dividends are given out. Again, that last month, you typically see it go up. It's something I like to follow as well because that's a quick, hold and make a quick buck on it. You know what I mean? That little month right here, you're gonna make a quick little buck. But anyway, let's talk about the list itself. Let's talk about what is on my yellow, why, and today is April 11th, 2021. All right, now yellow to me is a consolidating pattern, right? So if I'm seeing it looking like it's going to consolidate, meaning that it hasn't picked a direction up or down, it's either that it's coming out of a down or it's coming out of an up, and it just hasn't decided if it's going to continue to go up or continue to go down. For instance, you see here, it kind of did this consolidation pattern. Not, I don't use the trending lines for the consolidation pattern, but this is kind of what that is, right? So it's going straight across. It's not going up. It's not going down. It's just really just staying across. And then you notice earnings came out and it went up. And then it did it again. Straight across. Earnings came out and then it went up. and here we are again, straight across, right? So this is a good pattern, right? So we don't know if this is going to cause it to go down or up. You know what I mean? Hilton is a good stock for it to possibly go up because Hilton has what is it called? Hotels, and they are release. Obviously, the world is starting to open back up, so we're starting to get more action in the Hilton hotels. So it should make up whatever the difference is over the last year. As you saw, at one point it was down to 41, so it already made it up. But it's saying the high was 92, and it kind of happened like last month, sometime, or February 24th, it happened. So we don't know if it's going to go back up or it's going to drop back down, right? So that's why this pattern is for me where it's at. And again, got that across pattern. This one's kind of been stuck like that for a while. You can kind of say it's been in a down pattern, but it hasn't really shown a bearish pattern. Same thing with Nike. Nike right now is up and down, and this is kind of like what the people say in the Bollinger Band, right? So hit the top of the Bollinger Band, is going to drop back down. Hit the bottom of the Bollinger Band, is going to jump back up. It's kind of same thing, up and down, up and down. And as you can see, at one point it was trending up. Tesla, I think at one point went to 900 or so. Look, there it is, 900. And the lowest was 90. So imagine that. That's a 10x. Like, that's crazy. But in this time frame, it was down to 400, went all the way up to about 900 here, and then started to come back down. So we don't know if it's going to go back up or back down. But as you can see in the last month or two, it's just kind of like in this straight across pattern, hasn't really decided what it wants to do. And again, I'll break this down a little bit more over the course of more videos, but I kind of want to just go over my list. Up and then kind of going across, and then kind of went up a little bit, but kind of this consolidated across pattern. Now, I only showed you guys the one Bollinger Band, but if I showed you the green, yellow, and red, right? So I have my EMAs. My green EMA is my EMA over 5 days. 10-day EMA is and then I have my 20-day EMA, right? So this is what the pattern is over 20 days. You could extend it out to like 30, but it's not going to make much of a difference. I haven't seen much of a difference there. But I did a 5-day EMA. And then the 5-day, to me, if the 5 days on top of the yellow, which is then on top of the red, that's my bullish pattern, right? So if I ever see it cross like this, to me, this is now supposed to go into a down pattern. But if you notice, at some point it recrossed and it went back up. Right now, this little pattern here, and I can't really zoom in here, so I don't have a mouse that will let me. It'll only let me do it like this. So if you notice, it's starting to do this uptrend again, right? CarMax, I'm just using this as an example. So starting to do this where the green is crossing over the yellow and the yellow is crossing over the red. Again, meaning that this could potentially go into the green pattern combo. So, but as of right now, I haven't really decided what I want to do. I don't know what earnings are for CarMax, but I'll look into it and find out if these earnings cause this pattern, because if it did, we should probably get in for the next couple weeks. Tesla, kind of did the same thing. Earnings came out and went down. Why? I don't know. I didn't really look into Tesla like that. But if you notice, when the red's on the bottom, it's trending up. When the green crosses over, it trends down. And right now, it's not decided if it wants to go up or down. Nike's kind of the same thing. Green is on top. And then when it crossed over, it kind of dropped down and crossed back up and down and up and down. So we don't know where the pattern is going to lead because there's other things inside here. And then Planeteer, same thing. I don't know what's happening here. It's just kind of all bunched together. And then following the same pattern here. Hasn't really broken out. So I'm looking for more of like a breakout pattern. You can see like Roblox is kind of trying to do the same. QQQ is in an uptrend pattern. These are no matter what happens, I'm putting money in these. Up pattern. Right now, Binance and Bitcoin are up. Well, Bitcoin might be down. Nope, it's kind of just riding the same wave. So that's the yellow in this top chart. But if you use this MACD, you get the same thing. So when green's on top, it goes up. Anytime the green crosses over, it trends down, and then same thing. And right now, it's already going up and then down, and then it's just the bottom, right? So there's other patterns that I want to kind of show that I could show you. But either way, this yellow is going to show a consolidation pattern anyway. So even if I did my trending lines, I'll kind of show you what I mean by trend lines. Even if I did my trend lines, let's say from here, and then I did this, right? Or more like, it would be more like this, right? Even if I did that, it's kind of like this, right? And then I did the one from back here, maybe. It's not decided either way, right? So if you notice, it's like once these two touch, so like this thing may stay in this little section for like another month. It's not, I don't get I'm not getting my touches, right? So you want multiple touches on here. And you want the same thing, multiple touches on here. So this kind of just going across. So like this is kind of the bottom. And it's kind of following this trend where at some point these two lines are going to touch, and these two lines are going to decide if, and the stock will decide if it's going to go up or down. And you kind of can do the same thing from here up here, right? So you're going to get that where it's like an uptrend pattern, but then you're going to get this across pattern, right? So it's kind of like consolidating right here. So at some point, this is going to also touch, right? When you add your trend lines in there, you're going to get the same kind of pattern, right? That here to here is going to touch. So once they touch, it's then going to decide if it wants to go up or down. This is already going up. It's gone down a little bit, but it hasn't crossed, right? So the green has not crossed, made a decision on if it's going to go up or down. Same thing with this one. It's not really crossing. It's crossing simultaneously, but it hasn't really broken out. Same thing with Nike. You got this little jumbled mess right here. It's gone up. It's gone down. Is it going to go up again? It hasn't decided yet, right? Tesla, same thing. You got this kind of jumbled together. You kind of got this pattern going here, and then coming from here, you got the same pattern. So it's kind of just consolidating right now. And then Carmex hasn't really decided if it wants to go up or down. If you use the pattern from here, it's going to come across. So this is going to consolidate. But if I use this pattern from probably here, you're really using it from here to here, but then here to here. So it hasn't really decided. But either way, this pattern hasn't decided if it's going to break out or not. And you notice at some point, it took about, if you go here, look at this. Look how long it hasn't really been up or down. And when it does break out, it's a good breakout, right? So it's a good breakout. And if you want to ride the wave down, there's a breakdown. So it's not really going up or down, but it's going to decide at some point if it's going to go up or down. You notice the stock difference. Now, RSI is going to show more of if it's an oversold pattern, right? Or if it's an undersold pattern. So you got your volume here, right? So volume picked up around earnings, which was a good sign, meaning that it was probably going to skyrocket. So volume picked up right here, and then it dropped here as an oversold. So it wasn't oversold at this time. And I just saw at some point it became an oversold stock because everybody saw the pattern breakout. So this would have been good to buy because you would have saw this breakout between the two. Is how close together they are for the last couple of weeks and couple months. Once they kind of broke out apart from each other, it then skyrocketed. And at some point, let's say here, is kind of the peak, right? So this day would have been a good day to maybe not get in or decide if you want to get in one last time. Because of this day before, and I'll even show a pattern on that one. But yeah, one last time, and it skyrocketed. Boom, boom. This would have been a good day to not buy anymore or get out. And here's the breakdown, right? So it's the beginning of the breakdown as it starts to sell off again. Not too much selling off. It's just selling off, and then getting back into its normal trading pattern. And that's kind of what this is, kind of like a normal trading pattern. You kind of get the same thing on all of them. This is where it kind of exploded and go back into its normal trading pattern. Undersold, so it kind of picked back up. And you see where it hasn't really broken out. It went up, but it didn't really break out. And then it went down. And it went down hard. You know what I mean? So, and then same thing with Nike. You're not really getting this is not oversold pattern. It's just not really breaking out. You're not really overselling. Now, when it comes to the green ones, and I'll just show like a couple green ones, you'll notice that this is the beginning of it breaking out, right? With Twitter. Has a couple good days. Twitter had like 3 or 4 good days back here. It started to make its loop back up, right? And you notice that the trend is starting to pick up of more people selling. It's not overselling, but people are starting to sell again. Last time it did that, it broke down when it oversold, but then it undersold, and then it picked up. And you can see earnings is coming out soon. So everybody's kind of hearing that good earnings from Twitter. And then we got kind of the same thing here. This is a really good trading pattern. And then we're starting to get a small breakout. It's not really breaking out too much, but this one in particular does do a small breakout and small breakdown. So this would have been a good one where once it hit the bottom of the Bollinger Band, it kind of rides inside the Bollinger Band. Snap kind of does the same thing. Hit the bottom of the Bollinger Band, went up. So it's already in its uptrend pattern, right? So it's starting to pick up and trend upwards. And then last but not least, I'll just go over maybe Norwegian, right? The travel one. So, and you noticed here starting to trend up, and then it started coming back, it's starting to peel back, right? That one and Royal Caribbean tend to kind of follow the same pattern, starting to peel back a little bit. The reason why I watch both of these is because, again, they kind of follow the same pattern. One's always going to break out before the other one, but like this one in particular, we got our first big green day was on February 16th. Let's see if we had the same big green day. February 16th was kind of a big one, but you could have probably gotten to this one and rode this wave because this one kind of followed this one, right? So, but yeah, I think Norwegian is the one that breaks out first. So if you notice, like this day crossed over and they did like a little bit of a breakout, so it took off. And as it crossed back over, you want to get out the MACD. Once it crosses over the MACD, and again, I'll explain more of this later. And then we want to go over why these are not green. These are in a downtrend. So you see the green kind of cross back over, starting to go down. Pfizer, green crossed over, and I don't know if it's going to go down or up, but right now it crossed over. Viacom, green crossed over, and now it's in a downtrend. This to me is going to end up probably skyrocketing back up. I think it's oversold. Alibaba is actually a really good stock. It hasn't really decided. This one's more like a yellow. Nikola is trying to compete against Tesla. It's more like a yellow, but you can see it's like downtrending yellow. Like it's just horrible. And then Zoom, same concept. Trying to break out, but hasn't really done a good job at it. It's kind of bearish. And you can see it's not even oversold or nothing. It's just really bearish. This is a good pattern for it, but it is very bearish on the charts. So, but that's why. So that's the reason why these are where they are for right now. I haven't decided if I want to put anything to the yellow, but as of right now, I have them where they are because I'm not concentrating on trading any of them. And then what I'll do is I'll do a small video on the ones that I will trade, but I won't trade any of these on Monday. Because when I looked at all of them, like we'll use MasterCard, it's not a what is this, like a it's not a candle that is telling me yes or no. And it just crossed over, like literally just crossed over. And this is starting to show somewhat good volume. And then the dividends are starting to be distributed. Usually after dividends, you'll notice the downtrend, earnings, and then right before dividends, you'll notice an uptrend. But in this particular case, after dividends, usually is a drop. So, yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. I'll try to post another video, maybe Monday night, just to kind of say, okay, this is what I'm looking at trading on Tuesday, because hopefully one of these will show, or I'll maybe trade and just show you what I decided to trade. All right, you have any questions, let me know. Comment, and subscribe.